Hey shooters, we're here to shoot a brass cleaning video today. We've shot several of these in the past and many of you had other suggestions and recipes, everything from lemon juice to Kool-Aid. So we're going to try out 6 different methods and compare them to our previous results. For our first round of brass, we used lemon juice, water, and Dawn. We boiled equal parts water and lemon juice and a tablespoon of Dawn for 10 minutes. It was very bubbly and it smelled great. Be careful to control your temperature because it will boil over. We boiled for about 10 minutes and we could see the debris floating at the top and could immediately tell a difference. We let it cool for 3 minutes and then rinsed with hot water and then cold and let it sit in the sun to dry.
The next method we tried was Kool-Aid. We were excited to try this. So many responses came in about the simple and cost-effective method of Kool-Aid brass cleaning. We couldn't wait to see how this worked. We did some research first and found out that citric acid, the #1 ingredient of Kool-Aid, was where the secret was at. We could have used lemonade, but for effect and to prove that it was Kool-Aid, we used punch. Don't do this at home, it's a mess. Use clear or lemonade. But 1 packet mixed with 2 quarts of hot water, a little shaking, and set for 10 minutes. Rinsed, dried, and done. And only 20 cents. Another popular method was vinegar, but so many variations were out there. So we found on a chat board post an NRA article from 1957 that had this recipe. 1 pint of water, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of dish detergent. Mix, add brass, and let it sit for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes we rinsed it, dried it, and it was done. A little more laborious than Kool-Aid, but still not too bad.
For the next round, we used LYMAN Turbo Case Cleaner. We threw the dirty brass into the bottom of the can and used enough cleaner to cover all of the cases. We gave it a little agitation and let it sit for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we picked it out, strained it, and rinsed it because you can reuse the cleaner. We then set it in the sun to dry. We also used the traditional method of tumbling our brass. For this round, we used a Midsouth tumbler, Midsouth corncob media, and Midsouth media polish for 1 hour.
The sonic cleaner took the longest to do. About an hour to warm up to 140 degrees and 25 minutes to sonic clean it. After 25 minutes we unplugged, rinsed, and dried. If you saw the video of our last test, which I recommend checking out on YouTube if you didn't get to, you know our best result was from sonic cleaning and tumbling combined. So we took 10 pieces that were sonic cleaned, tumbled them for 10 minutes, and put them against the other results that we had.
Alright shooters, after 6 rounds of brass cleaning, here we are with our results.
By far the easiest one of all these methods was the LYMAN Turbo Case Cleaner. You just had to open it up, pour it in, put the brass in, let it sit for a couple minutes, rinse it out, let it dry, and it was done.
Alright, the method that we were actually most impressed with was the lemon juice, Dawn, and water, which many of you suggested. It got the brass really clean and pretty shiny.
Unfortunately, the one we were least impressed with and the one we were most excited from the get-go was the Kool-Aid. It cleaned the brass, but up against the other methods, you can see it just didn't clean them as well. But for 20 cents, it wasn't that bad.
Alright, if you are at home and you don't have any cleaning solution, we found that this method will work. It's vinegar, salt, Dawn, and water, and it got the brass fairly clean, but we would suggest tumbling it afterwards.
Which brings us to our next point. The winner, hands down, was the combination of the sonic cleaner with the tumbler. The sonic cleaner cleans the inside of the case, the primer pocket, and the outside, but there's still residue left on all those parts, the tumbler gets inside the case, cleans it out, gets inside the primer pocket and cleans it, and brings it to a high polish. After all the employees saw this, they all agreed that that method was definitely the cleanest and it looked the best of all the brass that we did. One final note. When we were done with all our testing and we had all our results, we decided that we would take all the brass, throw it into the tumbler for 2 hours and just see what came of it. When we were done with tumbling, we pulled them all out, and honestly we couldn't tell the difference between any of them. Some of the primer pockets were a little bit dirty, but they could still be reloaded. So, the important thing that we learned from all this is no matter what your method of cleaning on the get-go, as long as you tumble them for a couple hours at the end, they'll come out shiny and ready to reload.
We appreciate your suggestions and recipes, and we hope that this helps.